I was an unconventional child. And in being so, I often strayed away from your average formulaic Disney animated musical. I found myself far more invested in their edgier, darker, more daring ventures, such as The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Black Cauldron, and Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Something of a departure from the usual family-friendly musical fare, Atlantis was representative more so of a classic action-adventure movie, a genre that the animated Disney flick as of that point had not yet explored. Released in 2001, Atlantis told the story of the discovery of a fabled lost city. Now why does that sound familiar? But of course! Around the same time, DreamWorks presented us with The Road to El Dorado, another animated flick that deals with a similar subject matter, and one of many DreamWorks films to bear something of a resemblance to the Disney movies of this era. But while El Dorado maintains a more comical tone by paying homage to the Hope and Crosby Road 2 movies, Disney decided to go for a more serious approach, a straightforward action movie. Both of these movies have video game tie-in releases, and while I vow never to play El Dorado's game again for as long as I live, never ever again, I've high hopes for Atlantis. So did this forgotten PS1 tie-in deserve to be submerged in a sea of obscurity? No. No, it did not. And here's why! In all honesty, this game is quite the surprise. It follows a very similar structure to the likes of the awkwardly titled Disney's action game featuring Hercules, man what a mouthful, and Disney's Tarzan in its layout and organization. Considering it was developed by the same company, this shouldn't really come as a surprise. Where this game differs, however, is its gameplay. While Hercules and Tarzan were predominantly side-scrollers, Atlantis is more of a 3D platformer. Not only that, it sees you take control of not just Milo Thatch, but also pretty much the entire ensemble, at the very least whenever they're needed for a particular task, which we should be grateful for, considering Milo's, as Keita puts it, diminished physique.
According to the journal, it's now Farnell.
Here, Milo is not voiced by Michael J. Fox, but James Arnold Taylor, who you might know as Ratchet from the Ratchet & Clank series. Anyway, the game begins at Whitmore's mansion, where Whitmore teaches Milo the basics. And when I say basics, I really mean basic.
Just copy my moves. We'll start by jumping.
You're really gonna make me do this, aren't you?
The fact that you're having to show me how to physically jump doesn't instill me with confidence for this expedition.
Next, close-range combat.
Oh, good! I was itching to punch you in your patronizing face. Anyway, after your standard pointless training session, Whitmore then allows you to explore the mansion, putting your skills to the test.
An old chest. A quick punch will break this open.
Or you could just try opening it like a normal person. Such senseless violence. Once you've learned how to do the stuff you can do in every Disney game, you get to move on to the Ulysses. That's it, Helmsman. That's the kind of stoicism I like to see. I'd wager he's been taking lessons from Gary, the king of stoicism. Commander Rourke is waiting for you just down the corridor. But of course, he's not voiced by James Garner as in the movie. No, he's voiced by,
Thatch, I won't sugarcoat this. We've got a crisis on our hands.
Yeah, I know that voice. I know!
Blood.
It's LeChuck! In this level, you learn how to alternate between the various characters to complete tasks and progress. And I must say the game accomplishes this fairly well through the use of the radio. Now and again, characters will be unreachable due to a down signal, and you can only contact the relevant characters who are needed for the task. In this level, you get the chance to play as Vinny, the demolitions expert. He can throw grenades and light dynamite near obstructions to clear a path. You can also play as Audrey in this level. Audrey is, frankly, awesome. She's agile and has the know-how to fix the malfunctioning guns. She cannot, however, climb a ladder. Well, we didn't want to make her superhuman now, did we? Once you've amended our little problem, Milo is reunited with LeChuck. I mean, Rex. I mean, Rourke.
Thatch, this is the only way off the sub. Get this fire put out.
Wait, this is the only way off? And I've the only teeny-weeny fire extinguisher? I think whoever packed for this voyage was being a little bit optimistic. Certainly doesn't sound like health and safety was a major priority. Okay, see you then. Eventually you catch up with Rourke, and,
Thatch, the evac sub's release mechanism is jammed. Activate the manual override. Hurry!
Yeah. You know I'm just a linguist, right? I think you got me mistaken with somebody else. Guess I'll just push some buttons and see what happens. Once you've located your sub-pod, it's time to face the Leviathan. Now seems like a good time to talk about collectibles. In each level, if you find all the Atlantean symbols to spell Atlantis, you earn the movie clip for that level. Sometimes they're easy to locate, and other times they're well hidden or easy to miss.
Movie activated.
Yes, it's moderately challenging, alright, but I'm sure it's worth investing all my time and energy just for that special reward. Right?
Sub-pod.
Oh, well, that was a waste of time. Here's a cheat for you. Go out and buy the DVD instead. it's most likely a better use of your time. Other collectibles include crystals. Collect 15 of them and you earn an extra life. Why 15? I don't really know, but whatever. There's also a green crystal hidden in each level. Collect them all and you unlock all the special features in the options menu, including concept art and a character model viewer. Once you've escaped, you enter the Cove, where you have to complete 2 trials, the ice trial and the fire trial. Now I know what you're thinking. These scenes were not in the movie. Well, it may surprise you to know that they weren't. Weren't. No, while the ice trial is presented alongside a movie clip depicting the expedition crew in some kind of snowy realm, I certainly do not recall any snowmen in the movie.
Abominable, that is.
In fact, now seems like a good time to talk about combat. Every character can perform close combat punches. They have their own unique animations, but they mostly have the same effect and they're all as tough as each other more or less anyway. More interestingly, they all have their own long-range attacks. Vinny throws grenades, Awesome Audrey uses a flare gun, good old Audrey, Mole throws rocks, and Milo has, a boomerang. I find this especially odd, as the boomerang was also a weapon of choice in the Atlantis Game Boy Advance game, despite having been developed by a different company, while a boomerang, to my recollection, was never even seen in the movie. At all. I mean, even Mole's projectiles are rudimentary, but come on, they're more impressive than a boomerang. What was he thinking? Looks like somebody came a little ill-equipped. And herein lies a pretty major issue. The close combat is frustrating, in that it's sometimes difficult to make the first move in an attack. And while the long-range attack animations are varied, they don't differ all that much. For example, the boomerang can kill a Yeti in as many hits as the flare gun, right? It makes it all the more hilarious that these enemies die in the most pathetic way. You can also combine objects in your inventory. If you combine some long-range weapons with different colored crystals, you can unleash special powers! Ooh. Speaking of the inventory, this seems like a good time to talk about it. Here you can store your supplies, useful items and health pickups. Small health pickups are represented by small cans of food, simply labeled food. It doesn't specify whether it's fruit salad, curry, dog food, or Tesco everyday value baked beans, but nobody seems to complain. Meanwhile, first aid kits heal you more substantially. A nice touch is that you can only carry so many of them before the characters tell you,
I cannot carry any more of these.
Which does become a little grating after a while.
I cannot carry any more of these.
Yes, Kita, I know.
I cannot carry any.
I know, Kita, you told me. Oh, and another nice touch is the use of antivenom, as some giant bug things you encounter can poison you. When they do, the heart symbol in the top right turns green and your health continues to deplete until you drink one of these. Just lucky they happen to be lying around, I guess. The heck is that thing? That's it, Milo. Bitch slap him to death. Boom. What I also find hilarious is that Milo, as a man, is cited as one of the stronger members of the team. Stronger than Audrey, right? Who you know apparently can't climb a ladder. Honestly, Milo is apparently so strong he can fend off saber-toothed cats with his bare hands. Amazing. And push frozen balls of mammoths off cliffs. Yes, you heard that right. Yes, it looks like Milo's inexplicably stronger these days. I guess you could say he makes light of a mammoth task. You do better. Demon mammoth! Uh-oh, look out, Milo. The mammoth is running after you. Or quickly shuffling anyway. Quick, Milo, you need to match his pace. Shuffle, Milo. Shuffle for your life. Yes, here we have a chase sequence, which is a little laboured. For the majority of the game, the platforming isn't a huge problem, but that's because most of the tasks permit you to take your time in mastering your technique and finding a solution. The problem with this is that the controls are slow to respond and the physics are questionable. Sometimes jumping into an obstacle propels Milo forward, other times it sees him trapped and trampled. Anyway, eventually you make it to some caverns where you must use Mole to light your way through the darkness. Once you've located the ice gem, you return to the cove. The fire trial is arguably a little more challenging. Vinny comes in handy here to clear your path. Oh, hello there. Friend? Hey, no. We play nice with the non-flammable children. The puzzles in this game range from mind-numbingly simple to moderately challenging, with a fair few simply requiring you to match symbols to create a path. There is one such puzzle in the fire trial that's pretty much identical to the one in the ice trial. It's not very taxing, but features a lot of back and forth running about, which raises a good point. The use of the radio is a clever idea, yes, but can become tiresome when you have to keep returning to the radio to switch characters. Once you've retrieved the fire gem, you get to progress in the cove, where after finding a special mechanism to fix the digging machine, Awesome Audrey sets to work on repairing it.
Girl power!
Enabling you to... Most annoying level, truck escape. Okay, I won't grumble too much as I still find this level strangely enjoyable despite its flaws. While it's a nice change of pace, there's too much to keep track of. Maneuvering the truck is bad enough without having to think about petrol, Atlantis symbols, and health. It's strangely enjoyable to me though. Frustrating as hell, but a breath of fresh air from the game's regular slow pace. Once you've reached Atlantis, you get to control Kita. Kita is what I like to call a badass. No, seriously, Kita is the best character to control in my opinion. Not only are her moves satisfying to watch, she's as agile, if not more agile, than Milo. And to hell with boomerangs. This forgotten badass Disney princess fights with, wait for it, a big fuck-off magic stick.
Yeah! Girls rock!
The enemies of Atlantis are rather strange, including a weird dinosaur thing who spits slime balls at you from afar, a big colourful bird thing apparently named Trudy for some reason, and giant spiders.
No. Nope, I'm not going to do it. Nope. I'm above all that now.
Ah, go on then.
And everybody seems to have no problem taking out these creatures with their bare hands. Did nobody think to bring some means of defense? You know, something a little more substantial than a boomerang? Of course, as Kida, you don't attract the attention of the Atlantean guards, which is initially problematic as she's uncontactable via the radio.
Oh no!
I'm pretty surprised she knows how to use it at all, really, but there you go.
So, as Milo, you need to sneak through the marketplace without letting the guards spot you.
Outsiders don't belong here.
Why do you have German accents? You're supposed to be Atlantean guards, not Nazis.
This is one of the worst examples of stealth I've experienced. There is no option to sneak, you must instead use the large stones around you to hide as you run past them. The problem is that the camera doesn't give you the opportunity to check their location, and so you're likely to catch their attention anyway. Luckily, they're incapable of following you indoors, fortunately for you.
Yes. Well, I think we probably should have come to expect the ineptitude of the guards in this game. You know, considering the piss-poor track record of guards in the first place.
Anyway, once you've escaped the Nazis, Atlantean guards, you reenact the secret swim scene from the movie. Only it goes on for about 45 minutes longer due to some rather slow swimming mechanics. I'm not going to complain about this too much though, as the level is actually very well executed.
Oh look! This stone slab has a keyhole. Maybe we should investigate. Perhaps Kida can tell us more.
This stone slab contains a keyhole.
Well, gee, thanks for that useful information. What would I do without you?
Eventually, Rourke's betrayal comes to light. Some aspects of this level are pretty inventive. Early on, you come across a dark cave, and while logically you'd use Mole to light your path, it turns out he's unreachable on the radio.
No!
Instead, you have to use Awesome Audrey to light a path with your flare gun. Clever. Oh no, the stealth puzzle again? Why do you insist on haunting me?
I've already saved myself from being a chicken pie. Was that not enough?
Okay, so better run for cover. Guess I'll just stop here for a while. Oh, come on! That wasn't the least bit fair.
You are defeated.
The penultimate level sees you take control of the the big flying fish thing, with the goal of locating Rourke's dirigible to save Kida. Again, while it's a nice change of pace, this level is essentially a rehash of all the flight levels from movie times we've seen before. It controls well enough though, and there isn't a lot to complain about. The final boss is pretty disappointing as it sees you having to rely heavily on your boomerang. Yes, you heard that correctly, your boomerang.
Ah, Milo. I don't know how you survived this long.
Yeah, me neither.
You're obviously far more resourceful than I ever gave you credit for.
Resourceful? He packed a fucking boomerang!
And you, my dear, have just reached the end of the line.
The line.
The line.
Someone's been taking elocution lessons from Zap Brannigan.
They're suckling at the teats of my every syllable.
Way to milk your only speech in the game, Helga.
Drat! I must watch out for the cylinders.
Yes, you really must, or this dirigible's going down. Still, we live and learn. I'm sure you'll be quick to employ a new tactic very soon.
There's another one.
You're not the formidable opponent I thought you'd be.
Anyway, after Helga manages to destroy the cylinders 4 fucking times, she inexplicably disappears.
She's apparently dead now?
When did that happen?
Next, we finally come face to face with LeChuck.
Rourke! Rourke.
Mr. Thatch, I have to hand it to you. You're a bigger pain in the neck than I would have ever thought possible.
And this battle is extremely underwhelming, as it sees you having to hit Rourke with your boomerang to daze him, hit the container, again with your boomerang to crystallize him, and then hit him again with the boomerang to do damage. You know, Awesome Audrey has been packing a gun the entire game, and you chose to use a boomerang?
Yeah, take that, Rourke. You know what they say, what goes around comes around. Get it? Because I killed him with a boomerang? See it? Oh, you don't know a good joke when you hear one.
Okay, so overall the game is decent, but falls victim to the usual Disney game cliches. While it controls relatively well, it essentially follows the same formulaic layout as Tarzan. That said, the use of the ensemble adds a little more of a challenge to the game, and the female characters are surprisingly strong. Kida kicks ass, and so does Awesome Audrey. We'll just overlook her inability to climb ladders, eh? The puzzles are well constructed, and it's evident a lot of thought was invested in the game's overall design. The character models too are pretty impressive considering the game's age, but the constant back and forth to alternate between characters can become a little tiresome and at times dull. The stealth sections are horrendous, and the combat is awkward and lacks punch, so to speak. Ultimately, it's nothing spectacular, but a fairly solid game nonetheless. Atlantis: The Lost Empire is indeed a forgotten gem.
Hail Atlantis!